Riddle me this, riddle me that. What is by default white, round and flat? Hello my friends, this is Maltanan, and today we're going to talk about the circle effect, which is the tutorial that I've been promising you for a long time. And we're just going to, may seem not very exciting, but we're going to take a look at the ways that I'm using the circle effect, like, very often. And of course, this tutorial is also going to be live, so I'm not going to edit it. You seem to enjoy those live tutorials, so, and it cuts like a day from the production time for me, so let's just dive in. And yeah, we're going to create a new solid and of course a circle effect. So let's just drag it in like so, and ta-da! Now you know the answer to the riddle. Let's just move to full res, and okay, not very exciting, right? And let me just show you a few ways to use this effect. First of all, the most interesting thing about the circle effect are the blending modes. You've got so many to choose from, and the most commonly used by me are normal and stencil alpha, because those two really make the difference. You can use the circle as a mask, you can use the circle as a design element, and just let me just show you. What we're going to do, we're going to create a 3D sphere right now, with a highlight and something like that. So here's our base circle. Let's create a base circle. Now let's duplicate it, Ctrl D. Let's take another color. This time it will be red, like this. And as you can see right now, since the blending mode is set to none, we're only rendering the last circle. If I will turn it off, then we will have this circle visible. But I can change the mode to add, and that way we get something like this, which is already much more interesting. I can change the radius and go to the feather options and see where I'm going with this. Pretty cool, right? But on the other hand, if you would have something on the layer, the additive blending mode would also add this circle at this area. So to get rid of that effect, to get rid of that problem before it even occurs, sorry for the noise outside, I don't know if it's bothering you. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, to get rid of the problem before it occurs, let's just call this highlight. We're going to duplicate the original layer, move it below, and call this alpha. And we're going to change the blending mode to stencil alpha. And that's basically it. Take a look what we've got right now. We can just take this circle and move this highlight point around like so. So this is nice, easy and simple way to create a 3D looking sphere. Let's just turn the background on. This is quite nice, right? Okay, so one simple example of using the circle effect. The second example, maybe let's create a new comp. Let's call this sphere. I don't know where we're going to end up with this tutorial, so maybe I'll provide a project file for this. And the next example, let me think. Let's just import some kind of footage. Whatever, this one will do, I guess. Okay, we got something like this, whatever that is, and we can create a nice vignette, which most of you, even me, from until some time ago, I was using a separate layer with a mask and such. But right now, what I like to do is to create an adjustment layer and add a circle to that, or just drop the circle to the target layer like so, and just change the color to black or whatever I want, and set the feathering option, and there we go, nice vignetting. And you can even focus it on the area that you're interested in, so that's kind of cool. Oh yeah, radius. So that's actually pretty good way to create a nice vignette, I think. Much faster, and you can you can change the color easily if you want for some reason, of course. And what else? Yeah, for example, you can create kind of strange looking effects, because the circle comes with all those different edge modes, like edge radius, thickness. So this one looks kind of like an eclipse or something like that. So just play around with it. What next? Oh yeah, I often use the circle effect as a mask to reveal some objects. So let me just show you at this example, so maybe it will be easier to understand. Let me just drag the circle effect again, and I can set the mode to stencil alpha, like I said. So right now we've got this I don't know, spying kind of looking thing, radius, right? And if I set the feather and then animate this radius, I can create something like this, which is also pretty nice effect. Maybe not necessarily for a transition, but let me show you when I used this last time. It was this project, I think. Yes, and take a look at this. It's not exactly a growing element, like like the ones we are used to, use and see in all kind of motion graphics. But since this was a background element, faded out, blended with the rest of the background, it did pretty well. And the way this is built is I actually have a stroke that is following this branch, and of course, let me just show you. Luma key to get rid of the whites, but where is the actual stroke? Oh yeah, here's the stroke. Let me show you. See, this is the stroke, and the stroke effect goes from 0 to 100. Of course, when I animate this, it goes from 0 to 100, and then I got a set of circle effects that are all connected with this bloom slider. Let me just turn off the keyframes, which are only 2 keyframes. I don't like using keyframes, so those are expression driven, and I just basically only drag this little thing in here. Let me just turn off the mask. I just drag this slider, and then at a specific point in time, a specific circle starts to grow and then unhides all the elements. So that's kind of cool, I think. And the expressions that are used in this are basically, I just get the value from the slider, bloom, right, B, and then I use the linear function, and I set the range in which I want it to react. So for some reason I want this circle, the top circle, to start animating when the stroke, when the bloom slider is at 10 and it goes to 110. So in this range, I want the circle to start to grow from 0 to radius 360, and so on and so on. I do it with the top 2 and bottom 2, bottom 3, with some different conditions where I want it to start growing and where not. So this is pretty useful. Oh yeah, just like a quick tip. I was first trying to create a branch in After Effects. So this is the branch that is growing automatically. This is made by using the advanced lightning effect and some, as you can see, matte feathering and other options, noise, and stuff like that. Sorry guys, this is probably boring. I just had to record something for you because I have so much work to do that I just had to do something different, because otherwise I would go crazy. Really, it's okay, so let's just think for a second what we can do else with this circle effect. I've been thinking about it for such a long time, and I know I have something cool to show you, but I just can't remember what that is. Oh, okay. we've got this guy that was keyed out. Well, we probably need to do some color correction on him, because we can see that he's got this green tint, so we can just get rid of that easily by applying some spill killer or spill suppressor, I guess. Let's just move to green. See how that works. Doesn't do much. Okay, let's try spill killer from Key Correct Pro. Okay, that looks better. And let me just think what I wanted to do with this. Let's just create a new comp, drag him in, and just take a look what we're going to do with this. The original name for this tutorial was supposed to be cool, easy, and cheesy, because I was, thinking about showing you those circle effects for quite some time now. Where's the circle? Okay, here it is. And those effects are, in fact, cool, easy, and cheesy, but still cool and easy. So let's just set the blending mode to stencil alpha, like so. Now we can duplicate this circle and change the mode to normal. Make it a little bit larger, maybe. And here's the whole trick. CC composite. And see this? Let me just turn on the transparency. This one is in fact a very cool looking effect, right? And instantly on a one single layer you've got just a design element. You've got a person talking to you from a circle, which is kind of cool. You would probably need to set up those circles to be in the same spot. I just positioned them randomly, really didn't pay much attention to it, but still you can do it like this, move it maybe a little bit to the right, like so, and there we go. Instantly you've got this nice looking effect. And what else you can do with this? You can just create another copy. You can create another circle and create an outline for this white circle. So let's just take this one, copy it, paste it in here, make it grow, and this one we can set actually to maybe blue or something like that. And now let's go to this one and take a look. We've got only 2 layers. Normally it would take I don't know, about at least 2, 3, or hard to say, with the masking and everything. And using a circle effect, we just created this cool, easy, and cheesy effect. Very simple, very easy, and very quick. So this is kind of cool. You can also put some text on it, like create. Let's just do some cool info and draw a mask, elliptical mask, like so, something like that, right? And then just set the path to this to the circle, and there you go, right? Just set it up to be on the inside, on the outside, whatever you like. So instantly we've got some cool graphics, and then you can create a nice background also using a circle effect. Why not? Let's just do a nice background, solid, color, maybe let's make it dark red. Do you hear this noise outside? I can't stand it. I really don't know, because I can hardly hear myself talking. So oh yeah, we have to set the blending mode of the first circle to none. That way we get the transparency on the black solid on which the circle effect is applied to. So let's take another circle, set the blending mode to normal again, set the color to rich red, increase the radius, increase the feathering, and move it somewhere in here so we create kind of a spotlight. And then again we can drag another circle, make it black, invert it, set the blending mode to normal, grow the radius and feather it out so we create a vignette. Ta-da! Not very cool looking, but you know, right now it's only about tweaking the look and feel of the text, for example, you know, like changing the size and maybe putting it on the outside. Let's just take the mask and see how it looks. Green color. Yeah, we need to modify the mask just a little bit, so let's just do it right now. Like so, and like so. And it looks much better already, right? We can move this behind our actor. Pretty nice effect, I think. And okay, let me just think for a second. What else? Well, I guess that's it. You know, the only thing that I wanted to show you is that each time you have to create a vignette or create a mask or transition, something like that, try to think about using the circle effect, because in many cases it just helps a lot and it renders faster and you've got all those nice settings. Just take a look. Another solid circle. Let's just move it here. Let's take a look. You've got, first of all, you've got invert circle, you've got opacity of the circle, you've got all those blending modes, so add, multiply, screen overlay, blah blah blah, and stencil, alpha, and normal, which are the most commonly used by me, for example. And you've got things like edge, radius. When I set the radius of the edge, then I got like the inner radius and outer radius, so that's kind of cool. What else? And you can of course feather each one separately, so you've got like nice elements like this. What else? Thickness. So you set the thickness to be constant value and it doesn't change depending on the radius. The thickness of the circle is constant. Then you've got thickness times radius, so basically it's the proportions between the inner circle and the outer circle are the same. And thickness and feather and radius, so you just have to play around with it. Okay guys, I think that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this short tip about using the circle effect, and if you've got any questions, of course, you can contact me, write in the comments area. And remember to check out the blog and check out the support link on my website, which is my hotline, to be more exact. You can read all about the hotline, you can call me up, and don't worry, I know it says it's a paid service that you have to pay to talk to me, but remember, chatting on instant messaging system, you know, on Skype is free. As long as you chat, there's no charge, and you can of course call me, and I don't start to charge you like instantly. You can just ask me questions, how it works, you know, stuff like that. So don't worry, call me up, leave a comment on my website, and I hope you will stay with me and wait for another tutorials. Okay, thank you very much. Happy After Effecting. Hey guys, don't turn on the video just yet. I've got one more thing to show you. Even though I tried to show you the uses of circle effect other than creating, you know, circles, and I think I showed pretty much everything, the next thing I'm going to show you may not be as obvious as as I may think. So just in case, we have this shot here of my friend Dominic. I already tracked his head, so I got a null object in here. This will be useful later on. And this is Dominic. He's my fellow smoker. We share bad habits, I guess. What we're going to do here, we're going to use the circle effect as a point exposure kind of filter. And to do that, we're going to increase the radius, change the blending mode to normal so we can see what we're dealing with. We're going to put this onto his head and of course feather it out. Sorry, I got a water in my ear. I was kind of sick. It bothers me. Okay, sorry for that. And we're going to change the blending mode to add. Obviously, this is much too strong, and we can, of course, change the intensity of the effect just simply by dropping the opacity down. And this, of course, works both ways. We can change the color to black, and obviously add doesn't do anything, but we can multiply. So for example, we can darken everything besides his head, and we can of course drop the opacity as well. So we have this kind of effect going on. And what's cool about this is that we don't actually have to use the opacity nor the color. Well, I mean we do, but what I wanted to say is that let's just switch back to add and change the color to white and invert it back. Okay, so right now those are the default settings. White is obviously too strong. We can modify this by using the opacity slider or simply by changing the grayscale value of the circle. But this goes even further. We can use circle effect to do a very simple final touch-up kind of color correction, as you see in here. Now we've introduced some sunlight onto his head, generally to his whole character, and I think this looks actually pretty good, but we can push this even further. So let's get rid of this circle effect. Let's create a new solid, make comp size, that's it, and drag the circle effect again. We can already take the center of this circle, let's call this light. We can take the center of the circle and connect it to the position of the null object, which is just tracking data from his head, like so. And what we can do is this solid that we've put the circle on is black, and this is pretty important. Let me just pump this up, feather it out, and maybe drop the opacity just a little bit, change the color to, like a not very hot yellow color, and we can set the blending mode of this layer to soft light. Take a look at this. This is after, this is before, and after again. It actually adds a lot of depth to this. If we get rid of the circle, it looks just like that. Not very interesting. But here, it already kind of pulls him more into the foreground. We can focus on his character in this scene, which is just a walking scene. Nothing interested and nothing to be focusing on. But anyways, there's one more thing that we can do, and we can create a lens flare. And I know lens flares have been used so many times that they're, each time I see a lens flare, I get sick, literally. But we can make it work, really, believe me. So let's just call this layer a flare. And it is pretty important that this layer stays black. If you haven't used lens flare, which I think that you did actually, because everyone uses lens flares. But anyway, if you haven't, it is pretty important that this layer stays black, because lens flare on their own don't have any transparency, as you see.
So to introduce the transparency back, we need to change the blending mode of the layer to screen or add. Those are the two that work best. So right now you can see what's going on. And what I'd like to do with this lens flare, I'd like to keep those additional flare rings that I have in here, but I don't want this highlight. I don't actually know how those flares are called, so if you can, just leave me a comment. You know, I'm still working on my English vocabulary, so it will be pretty helpful. Okay, so let's just dive into it. Circle, drag it in here, and we definitely want to make this circle center point to be our lens flare center point. So let's just twirl down those properties, alt click on the center, use the pick whip, flare center, and that's it. And let's just see if it works. Pretty much. And what we want to do is we want to change the blending mode of the circle to stencil alpha. And right now we can see only this little highlight, but like before we can invert this so we see everything but this little piece, which is exactly what we want. So now let's just pump up the radius and pump up the feathering so we don't see the circle itself. Just like that. I think that's about it. And yeah, we've got the add blending mode. Maybe let's change it to screen to see what the difference is. Yeah, it's a little darker, I think. So yeah, let's just take this flare, put it in here, and there we go. This is after. Let me just hide all the controllers. That's Ctrl-Shift-H for hiding and for unhiding. And this is after, this is before. Quite a difference, huh? Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial. I hope it will turn out short. I don't know if I'm going to edit it or not. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see some comments from you. Well, this definitely needs some tracking data in here, but you know, this is just to show you how this might work. It doesn't actually have to work in this case, but you know where I'm going with this. So once again, thanks for watching. Check out the blog, check out the hotline, leave some comments, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers, happy After Effecting.